Kirwan's Game Store, the best place in gaming.
Alright, so it looks as though our players have drawn their 7 and they're just looking to resolve the mulligans here.
So it looks like both players are going to keep. Max is going to start off on the best land in his deck, the Sandstep Citadel. Michael's going to lead off with an Elvish Mystic, which is about as good as it gets for his deck.
He has an equally good play. Alright, Fleeceman Lion.
There we go. That's
starting
quite the
early.
card the last couple of rounds.
This is the card that allowed Max Brown to slug through that first game too.
So updates off camera. Dan Ward has lost his first game, but we are probably hoping for better results in games 2 and 3.
Wow, it looks like just maybe with him having to wait for us to do coverage. He is playing mono red, so that mono red player got in and got him pretty quickly. We'll try to keep you as much as possible updated on what's going outside, but do not fret, we will have all of the results soon.
So is that a morph he just played?
It is, so
What do we have that could be morph? Looks like just Rattleclaw Mystic?
Rattleclaw Mystic, yeah.
Okay, so he's got a face down Rattleclaw Mystic in his list. And Max is going to get in for 3.
And he's going to play Rakshasha's Death. Alright, he plays a Temple of Abandon. He's looking at the top card of the library.
Can't really see what's in his hand.
Nope, he's keeping that grip very close to his heart.
And he's
Oh yeah, you're winning this game. Well, yeah, I can just.
bottoms the top card. He's going to unmorph the Rattleclaw Mystic, adding a red, a green, and another color that I can't remember. I think it's blue. Ooh,
To play Whisper with
Whisperwood Element. That is pretty good.
very good play.
He also taps the Rattleclaw Mystic for a green and the Elvish Mystic for a green. Totaling 5 mana. That is...
You normally see Rattleclaw Mystic played as a 2 mana because you want to hit your like 6 drops and things like that. But in this case, as you can see, it works really well with Whispered Elemental, morphing it and then unmorphing it.
This is very, very true. I think landing that is definitely going to put Max on the back foot. He's in a little bit of trouble. Even getting rid of this Whisperwood Elemental with the Valor Stance, the Manifest token on the floor is still going to trade with this Death Dealer if he offers it, but he can probably get in with the Fleeceman Lion again.
Something that is looking really nice for Max is he has all of his colors and none of them cost him any pain.
Max is going to offer the Death Dealer. This is a really interesting attack for me. I think I like just getting in for 3, and then you'll be able to untap with 4 mana and be able to activate Death Dealers if you need it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bait.
Yeah, he's thinking. He is looking.
Michael
It
looks like he's going to offer the trade.
He's going to accept it, and there it is. And it was
There's a Rattleclaw Mystic.
Rattleclaw
That's a pretty good one. And there's the Warden of the Fish Tree.
So they're deliberating.
Michael still has access to 5 mana, which is really good. And Max has 2 downfalls and an Anafenza in his hand,
Yeah.
which is pretty solid. He's gonna need one of those downfalls to be active for getting that Polukranos off the table. It's definitely gonna be a really problematic blocker for him. Michael's gonna tap Rattleclaw Mystic for mana and play another Elvish Mystic.
He's really ramping up here. He's really hoping. It looks like he drew another downfall. That's what it looks like to me. which is really just staring him in the face since he cannot cast that card.
But he does have the Anafenza he can put on the
Right.
table, which
That
is
so
pretty
he
good.
He is
He's got some damage on the floor for sure.
draws for the turn.
So I think it's pretty safe for Michael to get in with that Pelucranos, and he's got access to roughly 8 mana for a Pelucranos Monstrous, which that's almost a clean sweep of Austin's board. That's Fleecemane Lion and Warden of the First Tree if he wants to go for that.
Always nice to get Warden of the First Tree off the table before it gets to use any of its abilities.
Ooh, that is
okay, or you could do that.
You could just land a Dragon Lord Atarka,
That's
and
also
that will clean up Warden and Anafenza. And
this is the good thing about green-red, that Devotion deck is you can ramp it out and you can play that Atarka, as you can see, pretty early. And it just makes your opponent's threats seem not that great.
that's because they end up in the graveyard.
Bogarden, it's doing its best Bogarden Hellkite impersonation. Can't hit players, but does
It kills
everything else.
Planeswalkers.
Yeah, Planeswalkers, exactly.
And here's another Warden of the First Tree. He's got mana open to be able to activate it, and you were right, that is another downfall in his hand. He's got 3 Heroes downfalls in his hand. So if Max can find his second Black Source or an Urborg, like, we're back in business. You know what I mean? He can get some of these creatures off the table, but right now he's staring down a lot of damage coming from Dragon Lord and Pelucranos. Like he's gonna go for the Monstrous this time. He's got an extra Devotion, so I believe he totals up to 9, which is exactly enough to get rid of both of the creatures on Max's side of the floor, and that will complete game 1.
That was pretty close to total domination there. He had all 3 of the mana he needed, but unfortunately the thing with the Habs and aggro deck is you need double of the mana. You need the double black. You need the double white for free mass. If you don't have those, the deck just doesn't function properly.
Yeah, I agree, and if Mike can really get off to like no hinders at all, he can really just start landing Dragon Lords and Pelucranoses, and those are just too big for the Abs and aggro deck to really get over.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's head to the sideboard. Let's look at what Max's plan is to win this next game. He has 2 Boon Satyrs, 3 Nylea's Disciple, 3 Arbor Colossus, 3 Xenagos, and 4 Nissas.
So I can't say exactly what the best cards would be in here.
But
I think I like the Nylea's Disciples a lot. They gain him a bunch of life, and they can make it so he can race and not have to worry about trading quite as much. And they block the Fleecemanes, and they block the Wardens, and they block the Rakshasa Death Dealers fairly well.
it's definitely good. All of his other cards are good, but I feel like he set up pretty well already against Abs and aggro that he doesn't want to take too much out.
Yeah. He's the mid-range deck. He has the slight advantage against the aggro deck for sure. The Nisas are probably pretty good.
Yeah.
The Xenagoses I find a little bit underwhelming because the Siege Rhino is just really good.
Right.
Your 2/2s aren't going to block the 4/5 that well. It does help your mana out a little bit. I don't really like the Boon Satyrs in the main board, so I know Mike's got a couple of cards he definitely wants to take out in this matchup.
That's true.
For Max, we have 2 Wingmate Rocks, 1 Nissa, 2 Elspeths, 1 Sorin, 1 Thoughtseize, 2 Duress, 1 Ultimate Price, 1 Valorous Stance, a Glare of Heresy, and 3 Drowning Sorrows. So, I really like the Wingmate Rocks from Max. It's going to slow his deck down, but this is the kind of matchup where the ground's going to get clogged up and flyers are going to be really, really important. Nissa's pretty good, but again, it's going to slow his deck down a lot. I like the Elspeth, though, because a lot of Max's creatures can slide under the 4 power requirements for Elspeth, and she can gum up the ground really, really well as well. The Thoughtseize, I think, is pretty good. Ultimate Price is really good against him. The Valorous Stance is also really good, so Max has definitely got a lot of good cards to bring in this matchup. I think a bit more than Mike, so I think this post board is... I think it's going to be a little bit more in Max's favor, for his deck's going to get a little bit more powerful.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot more tools. He does have Drowning Sorrows. I don't think he'll bring them in, but it is tempting because he has the 4 Elvish Mystics, the 4 Radical Mystics, the 4 Sylvan Carrier, So if he can hit, if he has like a very Elvish Mystic or Radical Mystic start, it would be really good. But
Yep.
it's not really where you want to be.
It's also really good against the Whisper with Elemental
That's
Morph
true.
tokens or
That's very
Manifest
true.
tokens. So it's definitely rough, but you know, we'll see what Max goes with. He's
Yeah.
also back on the play, so that's really advantageous to him as well.
Yeah. Like any aggro deck would like to be. Sure.
So.
Amen.
So we're still shuffling up. We're getting ready for game 2 right now. I'm pretty excited to see how this goes. Max Mitchell is a local hero. A lot of people have a lot of high hopes for him, and I hope he can get on the tour. But it's gonna be tough fighting through coursers and Dragon Lord targets for sure.
Dragon Lord Target is just so devastating for his deck when it resolves.
It really
Not
is.
if it resolves, when it resolves, it is just so devastating because even if he has that downfall, like just.
And the beautiful part about it is Michael's running 4 Scythian Writtens, so he effectively has 8 copies of Dragon Lord
He
target.
really does. We still have yet to see a Scythian Written resolve on this.
I'm waiting.
Feature match area.
I'm hoping Max can really draw this game out because that's going to get us more Scythian Writtens.
Exactly. I want to see the full 4 Scythian Writtens be cast.
That's
I don't
a
even know
hefty
how
price.
that's gonna happen.
It's a very
That's
hefty
not
price.
possible.
I feel like it might actually not be possible.
Yeah, I
'cause
don't
the
think it
first
is
one
because
might just hit
exactly.
one.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like they kind of have matching sleeves here. Alright, and they're laying out their hands. Max Mitchell's looking, deciding if he likes it. I saw he's got a Cave of Coilos, a Forest, or a Rakshasa Death Dealer, and he decides he does like it. So now Michael will take a look at his grip. It is impossible to see what those cards are. He is holding them very close.
Michael's got a very comfortable position right now. They both like their hands.
Yes, okay, so he decides to keep.
So we're leading off with the Thoughtseize. I said I liked Thoughtseize in this matchup because it helps really attack this deck.
Yeah.
And as you can see, so it looks like we have a bunch of lands, a Scythian Written, and some Mana Dorks. So
Exactly, this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. If you take Stevie Unwritten, his hand currently does nothing. It leaves him to have to top deck something to play with all those mana creatures.
So at this point, I think Sirach is probably one of the better plays to take because you have to wait a few turns to get the
Oh yeah,
Scythian
there is
written off.
Sirach. I see.
Or he does have Elspeth in his hand.
He does?
Max Mitchell does have Elspeth.
Oh,
in his
Max
hand.
Mitchell does. I was
So,
like, there's no.
Max has
There's no
Elspeth in
way.
his hand, which is a natural answer to Sirach, but the problem is Sirach's going to come down so much
Way
faster.
earlier, especially with the mana creatures.
Where the Scythian Written is going to be able to come down a lot slower, and Max is going to be able to find hopefully another Thoughtseize or something to do to get rid of the card that he's going to get off of it.
Alright, and he does choose to take the Sirach. He's going to play the Temple, Scry. He's just consulting the grip to make sure what he wants to do with that card.
That's really interesting.
So it looks like he will deploy a Fleece Main Lion. He does have to take 1 damage to do that. And Michael will deploy a Sylvan Caryatid. So Michael right now just looking to get all of his dorks out and start ramping into See the Unwritten. And possibly bigger things if he drew them.
I like the Sylvan Caryatid a lot better than the Rattleclaw Mystic as well because Max has the opportunity to get rid of the Rattleclaw Mystics where he can't get rid of the
Right.
the Caryatids.
So he swings in for 3 with the Fleece Main Lion and he follows up with a Rakshasa Death Dealer. just consulting his hand,
He's
figuring out exactly what he wants to play.
probably going to go with the Rattleclaw Mystic because he wants to get that Scythian Rin off as fast as possible. He's going to be able to do that next turn. Because he's going to have 2 mana dorks and 4 lands. He's going to be able to cast the Scythian Rin. He's not going to be able to get the maximum value out of it, which I think is where Max is going to be able to get some of his value is if he has a removal spell for the creature that he finds.
Right. But it looks like we may see our first Scythian Rin. It is shaping up that way.
Ooh, he looks like he probably played it face down.
Yeah, he does.
Fairly certain that's the only morph creature in his list.
It is. He only has Rattleclaw Mystics.
So we have a
even
face
out of the
down.
board, so we know that that's a Rattleclaw Mystic. Trying to see what's in Max Mitchell's hand. I definitely see a Llanowar Waste.
So I feel like if Max Mitchell right now has a Tremoka's command, this is a really good turn for him if blocks are made. But I can't see any profitable blocks for Michael.
No, Michael definitely just took the damage. Plays a Cave of Quills and a Siege Rhino. The man of the evening.
9 to 18. Anything possible. Oh, Siege Runner.
Yeah.
I'm not very used to the Abzan aggro deck's life total going up instead of down.
Right. This is, I really like the way Max Mitchell has played this. I really like the way he sideboarded. That Thoughtseize coupled with a lot of pressure in the Siege Rhino, the Death Dealer, and the Fleece main line has really put Michael on the back foot here. He's looking for an answer, and his deck is better at just ramping up and presenting things that you have to answer. So
I think he's going to go for the unmorph on the Rattleclaw Mystic here.
and that is exactly what he does. He will add a little bit of mana to his mana
Add
pool.
3, 4, 5, tap it for 6. So I like this play a little bit better because it leaves you with the Sylvan Caryatid back to block if he goes for the See the Unwritten. Where instead, if he just played it face up, he has to tap the Caryatid as well. So this way, he might have a couple extra blockers. And there we go. We have 2 See the Unwrittens. And this is a pretty good reveal right here.
Yeah, I'm seeing some good things he's definitely going to want.
No Dragon Lord Atarka, which is a little rough for Michael, because that would be the big blowout card here.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, Arbor Colossus, Polukranos, both really good choices
Very
in the
good.
situation.
And he chooses to go with Arbor Colossus.
Yep,
That
I
makes
think I
sense.
like Arbor Colossus a lot.
Yeah.
The Monstrous on Polukranos is going to be a little bit more relevant than Arbor Colossus, but Arbor Colossus has the bigger body, which is going to be a little bit better in the combats going
Yeah, I think
forward.
there was a good and bad picking both. I like Arbor Colossus here.
It's really solid. It's something that can probably get him further into the game at this point, rather than the 5/5 and the Polukranos. So, like a Dramoka's command out of Michael, or out of Max Mitchell, Siege Rhino fights Polukranos. He just gets rid of the Polukranos, makes your Siege Rhino 5/6, and then sure you can trade it off with something else, but you know you're still taking more damage from the Rakshasha Death Dealer and the Fleeceman line.
Very true.
Update on Dan Ward. He has won game 2 and he's going into game 3. Ooh, so we have a monstrous activation on a Fleece main lion.
Oof. That just gives you a little bit of the heebie-jeebies, right?
So that 6/6 Arbor Colossus is not as big as he once was.
And there is nothing in Michael's deck that deals with that other than just going over the top of it.
Yeah, so the Dragon Lord Atarka is still a really good card to cast on this board.
Yes, of course.
But, you know what I mean, he's not a really low life total already. And, like, you only get to take actually only one of Max's creatures.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't kill the Fleece main line. You'll probably go for the Siege Rhino, but, like, that still leaves him with a pretty big Rakshasha Death Dealer if he wants. He plays a Polukranos as Sylvan Caryatid, so we're at that point where the ground is really locked up, and I think attack with Fleece main lion, play Wingmate Rock is really good at this point.
Elspeth is. Does he have a wingmate in his hand?
I haven't seen anything,
Oh,
but there's
darn,
he's
I
got
thought you had the information.
he's got 2 wingmate rocks in the sideboard.
So we will hope that.
So I'm hoping hometown hero Max
Definitely.
Mitchell can find one of them if he's got
I
them.
see one is definitely looks like a land to
Actually,
that first card.
he has an Elspeth in his hand too,
Oh,
and I think he has an untapped land. Oh, okay. So I like the attack on Max right here because if he plays Elspeth right here, he's going to clean up all the big creatures, including his own Siege Rhino. So,
Right. So-
this triple block by Michael is actually going to be really wrong because the Rattleclaw Mystic is going to die.
right.
So he's going to put the Rattleclaw Mystic first, and then Elspeth's going to clean up everything else. So this is going to be a really good
Pretty
attack
good,
on
yeah.
Max's part.
You might as well attack with it. It is going away. So,
This is 100% true.
and there we
Land
go.
fetch. Go to 17. Here comes the queen herself, Elspeth, Sun's champion.
Which we have not seen this card resolved.
John Delano had it
Oh,
once, but it died instantaneously.
Yeah, yeah.
It's also a little scary at this point because Michael might have another Scythian written. He's already gone through
Right.
2, and if he finds a Dragon Lord, that sweeps up Elspeth.
Right. It's very true. But he's not in the best position if he doesn't play the Elspeth.
This
He
is
gets a
true.
Dragon Lord target anyways, so
Actually, because Elspeth's at 1, he's going to probably be able to get multiple things with the Dragon Lord if he can find one.
yeah.
But at this point, like, Max has board, Michael has 2 Sylvan
Right.
Carry Tips.
Right. He has to draw the card. He
Yeah.
has to draw that.
So he's only got 2 cards in his hand right now, neither of which we can see at this point, so we're unsure as to what they are.
One of them was
It's a wooded
fetch.
foothills, and he goes to pass. I can't see anything in Mike's deck that is it instant speed.
No.
Everything's really a sorcery speed card, so if he's passing, like, it's probably just another land in his hand.
Most likely. There's really no reason to hold anything back either.
True. So at this point, Max pluses makes tokens, and he's just got free attacks with a 4/4 Fleece main line and a pumpable Rakshasa Death Dealer.
Yeah. And this is the Rakshasa Death Dealer that we get to see that can be reanimated as well.
So,
Or regenerated.
interestingly enough, if no blocks are made, like, Michael dies to the Rakshasa Death Dealer pumps. So Michael has to
He
block
know,
here.
he definitely sees that and he knows he has to block. It's not a winning proposition, but
You don't need both Caryatids. The Dragon Lords are 7 mana.
Right.
The Scythians are 6 mana. So you can definitely get rid of one of the Caryatids here.
and he will oblige Michael and he will pump the Death Dealer.
It's going to take 4, go to 5.
Falling dangerously low here. And he's looking to get something this turn. This turn is the turn. And it wasn't it. Whatever he drew, it just wasn't that card.
So that was the Elspeth that I really liked in this matchup because Mike has a lot of 4 power creatures.
Right.
Getting an Elspeth onto the floor, hitting that minus button is just really good at sweeping up boards against Mike because it really just kind of leaves him with like Coursers and Mana Dorks, which Mac's side of the board doesn't really care
Doesn't
that much
mind
about.
as much about, yeah. Alright, so that ties it up and we're going to be going to game 3. So it looks like they are just looking at their sideboards, making sure that they want all the cards that they have in, they want them on the play, etc., etc. This is huge. I'm just so excited for whoever wins this match that they're going to be qualified for the Pro Tour.
This is true.
Like, this
it's a
match.
really great feeling.
Like, wow. So, we're just looking to move on.
So they're probably going to try to change some play style a little bit now that Mike's on
Right.
the play and Max is on the draw. I think on the draw, I like playing a slower game because, outside of the Dragon Lord of Tarka being more of a 2-for-1 against you, possibly even a 3-for-1.
Yeah.
Like, you've got removal spells for all Mike's big creatures. You know, you've got Elspeth, you've got Wingmate Rocks. Like, they're really good evasive threats. Like, they're good things against him that can really take over games by themselves. So I think I like taking up the control route here, even though he doesn't have end hostilities. But, like, he's got really good removal spells. Like, I think Max could become a good mid-range deck against him.
I definitely think it is the case that you don't want to become too, like, you don't want to go too high on your mana curve. You still want to be able to get under him. The problem with that being is that Michael's less like a mid-range deck as he is like a pure devotion deck. Like, he's really just looking to ramp and then play his big spell. So that's why it's kind of a little bit better. And we're going to look and see if we can find any other results. None of the matches have finished yet. We do know that Dan Ward is 1-1 against his mono red player, which I believe is Paul.
I think Dan's facing somebody else.
What did you think of the top 8? Like, the decks that made the top 8? We have some very interesting decks.
Dan Ward's against Abs and Aggro.
Oh, Abs and Aggro?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I thought it was against mono.
So Dan Ward's playing Black Red Dragons against an Abs and Aggro opponent, and they're currently 1-1.
That is one that we do know. We had a Black Red Dragons deck make top 8. We had a Blue Green Tempo deck with morphs make top 8. We had a Mono Red deck make top 8. You can see Green Red Devotion. Oh, it's basically green / Tarka, and it has Anagosis in the board. Abs and Aggro on Max Mitchell's side. There was no Esper Dragons deck, unfortunately.
That is a very interesting piece, actually. That's one of the most popular decks to come out of the Grand Prix, and everyone seems to be advocating the list right now. And none of them made it.
No, it's true. It looks like green is ruling here today.
Which I enjoy far too much.
Oh no.
Actually, looking through the list, there are actually only 2 decks in the top 8 that don't have green in them.
I know, it's insane. And one's a mono red deck and the other one's
Black Red Dragons.
Black Red Dragons, yeah.
Which I play a slight spin on if it's
With
Black
green.
Red Green.
Yeah, exactly.
Mine also has less dragons, but it is featuring Dragon Lord of Tarka, and I can tell from experience that card is really awesome. It's actually really awesome as well because I play a Whip of Erebos in my decks. When he enters and deals 5 damage to things, I gain 5 life.
Oh.
It's so much better than it sounds.
Oh. That value whip. You're not trying to do anything necessarily broken. You don't have Sidisi's, but you just...
I have Satyr Wayfinders to help
so you
fix
are
the mana
boosting it,
because I don't have the Tri-lands like everybody else. So I'm relying on Scries and Satyr Wayfinders and Sylvan Caryatids and Courser of Crucifix. So actually, honestly, the mana is really, really good in the deck.
If there's any card to rely on in the standard format, it would definitely be Courser. Like, that's just such a reliable card. Like,
so
that card's
good.
always going to help you.
Yes. Like, if you're playing green and it's one of your main colors, you should play Courser of
There
Crucifix.
is no reason not to play Courser.
The card's just good.
It's just like when you feeling a little hurt, he's there for you. When you need something, he's there for you.
I had 2 Courser of Crucifixes in play versus Mono Red at 4 life, and my opponent untaps and lays a Stoke the Flames on the floor. I'm like, I fetch in response. I go up to 5, take 4, go to 1, and Courser was able to ride me to the win.
And man, the unseen heroes of this format.
Just
Courser.
absolutely. And these 2 being very gentlemanly about this match, shaking hands prior to the match, wishing the other good luck, and that's definitely a generally display of sportsmanship.
This is the game. These are the. This is the game 3. So this is the game that decides which one of them goes to the Pro Tour. All right. This is just. I cannot fathom just how important this match is for these people. All right.
I've been in a couple of important matches, but nothing even close to this. I think the closest I've been is I was playing at a win-in at a regular PTQ. So I've been that close before, but I've never been here.
That's pretty.
It's solid.
It's up there. All right, we're gonna start with a very good start from Michael with a forest into an Elvish Mystic.
This is about the best start it can get on the play with an Elvish Mystic. Max Mitchell also with the best start that his deck can have on a Sand Step Citadel tapped.
All right, yep. So he's got all of his mana. Now he just has to make sure he can hit those double spells.
There's a Nick those on too. He passes turn, so no attacks. So I'm thinking Boonsader.
He got plans. He definitely got plans.
I think there's an instant speed Boonsader in Max Mitchell's future. There it is. The all too common, I'm not going to attack with my Elvish Mystic on turn 2.
You know something's up.
It's like, it's free, guys. It's a point of damage. But nope, the instant speed 4-2 is coming through.
Alright. So there we go. We see a fetch cracked.
So the land here indicates it's probably not Corsair Crufix. So I'm thinking, if this is Sirach, Max is in trouble.
Oh.
Max is in a lot of trouble if this is Sirach the Hunt Caller.
See, it's very fun to watch Michael because you really don't know what's going on because you cannot see his hand. Yeah. Alright, it looks like...
There it is. Sirach the Hunt Caller. We have a hasty 5-4 right now.
Oh.
So, Max doesn't have great blocks right now.
No.
I want to say he's got to go in front of the Boomsader. It makes the trade.
Yeah.
You take 4. You don't take 4 damage.
Yeah.
Like you're okay with taking 1 shot of 5, but you need to find something right now.
Immediately. There's an ultimate price.
That is going to be very important right now, especially because if Michael deploys a 2-power threat, it's got haste. Rattleclaw Mystics, anything.
All right.
There it is. Does Max have another land to play? He does not.
Oh.
That is going to be very detrimental to his game plan.
You know, we talked a lot about Ultimate Price, about how it's not as good in the standard format, but against Sirach, it's very good.
This is very true. And like I said, anything with 2 power or greater at this point has haste, which Max just can't let that happen.
Yeah. Absolutely. Alright, and the Pelucranos, while it does not have haste, is not a slouch.
It's definitely not. But if Max can't find lands, he's going to start running out of answers. I see a Valorous Stance in his hand, and I think it's okay to play it now, but you know, maybe he can trick Michael into Monstrosing, trying to get some extra damage across, because Max is already at a pretty low life total, and then hit it with the Valorous Stance. You know, he's stuck on lands, so maybe Michael doesn't think he's got any other removal spells.
It's possible. He needs to get lucky from this point anyways, so if you think you might get a little bit more value out of it, then by all means.
I agree. There's an attack for 6.
And it looks like he'll just...
He's going to go with the Valorous Stance right off the bat. Michael's going to say, okay, bin the Pelucranos.
I think that's completely fine because it's just incredibly unlikely that he would monstrous it.
Yeah. He's going to play a Rattleclaw Mystic face down. Max is going to draw. That's a Rakshasha Death Dealer. So that's a threat he can play, and he can keep on the floor if he gets to untap with it.
Right.
But that is a tall order when you're staring down a card face down and a couple of cards in hand. So I think we're in see the unwritten territory right now.
Mm-hmm. The question is if he has it. I just can't believe that Max has not found another land yet.
Ooh. So it's an attack by the face down card. Max is going to offer the trade. I'm not sure if I like that trade that much, but if Max can extend the game long enough to start finding lands, I see Elspeth, I see Siege Rhino. There's some threats in the hand, and Michael only has 2 cards in hand. There's the first mountain for Michael's side, actually.
Alright, so trying to get a peek at what is in his hand.
So I hear Dan Ward walking around upstairs. I don't have a result yet, but we're hoping for the best.
Yes. We're downstairs, and Dan Ward, as you know, if you guys know him, he's very tall, and you can hear him literally, his feet just hitting the ground above.
There it is. I see the unwritten into Annihila's Disciple, which is pretty good, but it's not a card that he really wants at this point. But there's a Polukranos, which is going to be really good. And a Whisperwood Elemental. So I think it's the Whisperwood, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just...
You can't deny that value.
Yeah. The 5/5 is good, but 6 power is better, and adding 2 power to the board every turn is really good.
I mean, this is... Either one's
End step,
good
make a
against
manifest.
an opponent that has 2 lands.
Pass turn. This is not what I would ever wish for somebody to be land stuck like this, especially in a deck that is probably playing 25 plus lands.
All right. Another Death Dealer.
Going to 11.
Right, and another.
So this is going to be a Sevian Rune with a ferocious trigger.
Yes.
So he's going to be able to take 2 cards, and I see
Yes.
a Dragon Lord Atarka and a Sirach. So here comes the
This
combo.
is the real. This is what you want to do when you have this deck. This is what you want.
Hit the Dragon Lord Atarka, hit Sirach, give him both haste.
You
Or
have to imagine
Give Atarka haste.
Michael is just
attack.
extremely happy in this position.
Yeah. It's going to give Atarka haste. He's going to come across for 14 points of damage after hitting the Death Dealer, and that's going to end the game.
That's a really unfortunate way to go. Only finding 2 lands after all of those draw steps.
He put up quite the fight. Valor Stance,
He
Ultimate
tried
Price.
Ultimate Price, 2 Death Dealers,
Bring
but
it to us.
his deck just didn't want to perform for him.
It was quite the fight. I saw an Abzan Charm in there, so if he was able to draw another land, you know, he's got the Abzan Charm for the Whisperwood, removes the Ferocious Trigger, but I still don't think he's got a very good chance of winning that game. He was just too far behind, too fast.
Yes.
That was quite the match. You know, congratulations to Mike. He's made it to the Pro Tour. We're sad for Max, hometown hero, doesn't make it yet. I have high hopes for him. He's
Yes,
a good
exactly.
player. I'm pretty excited. I'm waiting for the news where he's going to make it one day. So
Yeah, absolutely.
we're going to see if we can find a third match for you guys, and we will be right back. Hey guys, we are here in the second match of the John Delano at Austin Manziel game. John looks like he is a little bit ahead on board with an Elspeth and a Whisperwood Elemental. Currently, John is up 1 game. Fun fact about game 1 is Austin Manziel actually decked himself before the game ended, and he was at, I believe, 240 life before that game ended. So game 1 was a very long and grindy match that came to conclusion on the inability to draw cards.
Wow. That's kind of what can happen with Green My Devotion. It can get into this point where it can't lose, but it can't win.
Yeah. It's definitely tough times, but I think this Elspeth's really, really high right now. If she ults, you know, that
there
flying
she
plus
is.
3 plus or +2/+2 Whisperwood Elemental. It's gonna be really good.
That could get through. Definitely.
And all the manifests that you're gonna have, and John Delano has a lot of tokens on his side of the floor.
Yes.
Austin needs some things to go very, very right for him right now.
And I can't tell, but it doesn't look like he has any cards in his hand. So
Maybe not.
Hellbent, from what I can tell. Actually, that might be a card over there. That might be a card just really on the corner. So.
Ooh, Dramoka's Command.
Which has just been in All-Star this entire day. Every time Dramoka's Command gets cast, it's doing something very powerful.
This is very true. So it looks like Dramoka's Command was +1/+1 and fight Pelucranos
It makes sense. 'Cause, like,
to the Whisperwood Elemental.
You want to get rid of those.
So he's not worried too much about not having the Whisperwood?
No, he still has a lot of power on
Yes.
board,
Oh.
and there's just not much he can do.
So
John
we
Delano.
came back just in time to see John Delano qualify for the Pro Tour.
I'm
awesome.
excited. John's another friend of mine, and I'm glad to see him go. It's you know, hopefully he can redeem himself a little bit more on this Pro Tour. I know John's got a lot of good things ahead of him. He's a very, very skilled mage.
Yeah. And